Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Memories Made Magical. Welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd like to share today a walkthrough of a 6x6 mini album that I've made recently using a CD Rom by Joanna Sheen, and this collection is called Nostalgia and it features the paintings by Kevin Walsh. Now, I first showed you this CD Rom back in September when I brought out a tutorial of how I actually made my 6x6 mini album, and I showed you how to make the actual structure of the album, and then I showed you how to place some of the printed out images off the CD-ROM into the book. Well, today, as I say, I thought I'd just do a little walkthrough of the completed album. So on the front, it's a 6x6 album, as I say, and on the front I've made a collage of some of the printed out images that I had from the CD-ROM. And how I did that was just by getting some of the images and just laying them on top of one another and laying them onto the scan bed of my printer and just scanning them, and it came out just like one picture. So I thought that was quite a nice idea for a front cover. And then I put a little strip of a backing paper just at the side there on the front of the spine. And then to put for the title, I used a die cut. You can see there it says Memories, a die cut which is actually by Tonic Studio dies on there. So that's Tonic Studio, and that was one that I bought when I bought their memory book dies. So that's one of the little dies you get, so that's very useful. You can use it for many things. So that's the front, that's the side of the spine that goes all the way around. And then on the back, again, I made another collage, but this time in black and white. Just a couple of different images, and then another strip of another backing paper just to go along the spine. So that's the front and the back, and on the side is just plain black. See? And then we open up the front page, and I've got just a red and white stripe backing paper that comes on the CD. And then the first image, I've got a flip up here, so it's got a little scene of a little village with a couple of vintage vehicles, an old-fashioned garage, and some children and some geese there. So it's quite an old image of an English village in times gone by. Then I had a flip up, and I left that plain black so that you can just mount a photo on there. And then I got a blue and white gingham backing paper. And then in this page I also put a pocket so that we have got a photo mat that we pull out. And that's a double-sided black photo mat, so you can put photo on each side. And what I did was made double pockets, so when you turn it over to the second page, again on this side you have another pocket where you can pull out another photo mat, again the same size as the first. And then this picture shows you a vintage vehicle and an old aeroplane, an old motorbike, some aerodrome. And then we flip it up, and again a nice place for a photograph. Just trying to see how big these flaps are actually. That'll be big enough for a 5.5, about a 5.5 by 5.5 inches photograph will fit on there nicely. And then there was another one of the nice backing papers. Next one shows a vintage train and a little vintage car with a father watching his train with the children as the children are waving at the people on the train. All the way through I've had the flip ups so that you can put your 5x5 photos, and also photo mats in each of the pockets. The next one, it's another train. That was the image that you would have seen if you watched my previous video to do with this nostalgic album of the Flying Scotsman. Again with some children waving. There's an old post van there, an old postman who's got a sack of mail that's possibly going to go on the train or has just come off the train. Again another double photo mat, which I just rounded off the corners just using my We Are Memory Keepers corner punch. And then another scene, which was the nostalgic seaside scene, and I cut it down to size for the 5.5 by 5.5 flip ups, just so that you've got the photos on the front. And if you want to keep if the person that's having this album wants to keep the pictures, then obviously they've still got plenty of room to put their photos. They can put a photo on the plain backing papers, although this one isn't completely plain. I like this backing paper because I had a little boy there sitting there just filling his bucket up with sand, ready to make a sandcastle at the beach. But you can keep the pictures, but then obviously the mats are nice and plain, and the photo mats also that go in the pockets are plain. So there's plenty of room for some photos here. I think I worked it out, you've got enough room in this album for about 40 to 45 photos. Let me turn it over. Now we've got the image that we had of the old corner shop with Cadbury's, which was a very old English make of chocolate. So there's a Cadbury's van outside, so obviously there's a Cadbury's delivery driver that's just bought a new stock of Cadbury's chocolate for the sweet shop, so the little boy and the little girl look quite happy about that, and the puppy looks quite happy as well, even though we're not supposed to feed our dogs chocolate, as I know. There we are, another flip up. The next one is London back in the 1960s with the buses and the Mini and the black cab. Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament at the back. Another flip up. Another photo mat that comes out the side of the pocket. Next side is a Jag, E-type Jag, with a little boy who's got his own little mini Jag, wanting to be like his father. Another flip up. Another nice backing paper that was printed off. And this, I don't know if you can see, just right in the right hand corner here, there's just a little cameo. It's part of the backing paper, but it's just a little picture of a donkey with a little cart and a little Edwardian girl on there. So there's lots of different eras on this CD. It's not just 1950s and 60s, it's lots of different times gone by. It's what it says, it's pure nostalgia, this album. CD Rom rather. And then on the next page I've got a little picture of a campsite with a little pond and some children playing and floating their boats there, and that little boy there who was filling up his bucket. And there's an old MG and some old classic caravans and old deck chairs, boys playing cricket. Looks like Mum and Dad are just having a bit of a rest on the old sun loungers with the puppy, while the children play nicely. Another flip up and another nice backing paper. And that backing paper has actually got a little tag on there, which is actually part of the backing paper, which if you wanted to you could cut out and mount onto something else if you put a little bit of foam tape or something at the back of it. That is actually the Flying Scotsman on there. And on the back I made another little mini collage where I just put a couple of the images together on my scanner, just laid them one on top of the other and scanned it, but this time I did it in black and white. I thought I actually gave it quite a nice look in black and white. In fact, now I think about it, it probably would have been quite nice to do the whole album in black and white. So obviously that's your choice. If you use a CD Rom, you can actually do it in colour or black and white. That's the versatility of using CD ROMs as opposed to a paper pad. Okay, so that's the little walkthrough of the Nostalgia 6x6 mini album. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching, and if you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, take care, happy crafting.